Okay, I'll count you down when you're ready. Okay, in three, two, one, go. So, I'm PrototypeAlpha, and welcome to the world of Entropy Rising, a place dominated by these strange spheres and cubes, and everything is made. And these green cubes are ones that create the world. So there was a trick that allows you to skip having to go through this level manually, and you tab out at just the right place, and this purple sphere doesn't let go of you, so it just drags you to the end. So here you're supposed to pick up the item over there, but we don't need to do that, because we can just do a little click. Where if you get damaged and you jump, you actually jump higher. So we don't need to pick up the item to... Got a bit of bad RNG there, but we don't need to pick up that item, because it will just give it to us in this level. So here is one of the first levels where this game's gimmick comes into play, and that is time reverse. So here you can use time reverse right before you land, and it'll nullify all of the fall damage. And now in this level, where we get the second gimmick of this game, which is the upgrade for this gun, which allows us to manipulate gravity. So these blue surfaces are where you can create a bubble of localized gravity, so you can move these spheres without having to go right up to them. And these spheres are made of lava, so they can kill you in a couple of seconds if you get too close. But using this, we can move them without being killed by them. So here is just basically more of using the gravity bubble. And if you move off of the blue surface, it will instantly get rid of the gravity bubble. So we can use that to speed up some of these sections. Unfortunately, the ground bubbles can be a bit finicky. So here we need to unlock the door using 2 spheres, but we need to unlock part of the door on the other side. And to do that, we're going to need to cool down some lava spheres. So we've opened the first part of the door, but we need to open the second part. And we do that by bringing these lava spheres out and turning them into rock spheres, just like the ones where I've crawled. So now they're sufficiently cooled down, we can move them around. Yeah, these blue surfaces are very finicky to do, because even if you look in just a slightly wrong angle, it'll just freak out and not know where you're aiming. Now, for this level, we need to pick up all of these water spheres and cool down the lava spheres in this pit to unlock some more lava spheres. Because we need to take these lava spheres and put them up there. But we need to be careful because grass can catch fire. And as you all know, fires tend to be slightly hot. So we want to avoid the grass as much as possible. Because especially in the level near the end, you can die very easily just because the lava spheres catch the grass on fire. And so here we skip most of the level just by going underneath this lava sphere. It's kind of precise. I managed to get it on the second cycle. So now we need to get another rock sphere, and to do that we need to cool down this lava sphere. So now that it's sufficiently cooled down, you can go around and put it on the other scales. Because the first set of scales we needed to unlock the door, and now this set we need both of them on this one to unlock the door to the exit. So this one introduces electricity. So these orange things are conductors of electricity, but spheres, such as these rock spheres, will block them, but water spheres will actually conduct the electricity. But once the water sphere is conducting electricity, you can't touch it, because you'll get electrocuted. Now we need to get another water sphere, but it's all the way past this chasm. So we need to use these rock spheres to push it towards us. Now that's powered, we can leave this level. And here, if you're too slow, you'll get electrocuted by those spheres. But if you start moving as soon as you load into the level, then they won't get you. And here you use a damage cancel to go down as far as you can, and then break free these water spheres and then just complete the circuit. And now again we need to cool down lava spheres, and to do that we need 3 water spheres. So we create ground bubbles so that they drop down as soon as we get up top here, and then we can break free a couple more and then break free lava ones. So then now they're on the ground, we can cool them down with these that we dropped down earlier. Now those 2 on there, we can leave this level. And now this level introduces these acid spheres where they act like water, but if you get too close to them or hold them for too long, you'll take damage. So you have to be quick moving these spheres. Now here we just get rid of that lava sphere so we can pass using ground ball. And then we need to escort these acid spheres over to a capture device near the exit door. As I said before, acid spheres work similar to water spheres, as in they can conduct electricity. Now here we need to keep the lava spheres out of the way, and we do that just by using ground ball, so that when we break the bubble, they just get captured by the other one. And here we need to cool some acid spheres, or lava spheres rather, and then replace them with the acid spheres to unlock the door. It's kind of RNG whether or not the water spheres will get captured by the same the same bubble that the acid ones were in. So now those are cooled down, we can put the acid ones down and they won't react, so unlock the door. And here is basically the same thing, except we can't cool these down, so we need to keep these out of the way. And we do that just by gathering them all up and then using a grav bubble to keep them in one place. So this next level is combining all three of them. So we need to keep these lava spheres out of the way just by putting them over here. And then we need to take two acid spheres and put them over here. So when you touch a ground bubble, it explodes and you take damage from it as well. So you need to be careful to not take too much damage before exploding a ground bubble. And it's very easy to touch one accidentally while you're moving it. So here we need to cool down the lava spheres. So then we can put this acid sphere on there. And now we can leave this level. And here we can literally just run past all of those lava spheres before they attack us. Now we need to get these rock spheres down to the press plate at the bottom. Now the next part of this level, we're going to be using a new strat where you use the reverse time ability to jump over gaps. And the way it works is that when you're reversing, if you jump as soon as you stop reversing time, it will give you an extra jump regardless of whether you're on ground or not. So now for this level, we need to unlock the door to the right there, and to do that we need to energize this circuit. But because the atmosphere conducts electricity, it's not going to fall down into the gap. But we need the atmosphere in the bottom, so then we can unlock the door. So we let go of the electricity so that it falls down, and then put the electricity back on and place the water sphere in its place. And now we can leave this level. And now a new mechanic of the game is these devices which allow you to tilt the game world. So this level is pretty simple. You just put those lava spheres in that part and then just leave the level. Now this level is one of the more complicated levels in the game. First we need to unlock the first door by dropping these lava spheres into the pit. And then we can go down here. And now we need to complete a circuit. And to do that, first we turn the electricity on up here. And then we go down here and bring the acid spheres up. The reason why I only took 2 of them up at the same time is because if you take all 3, they'll all group up into a triangle, and it'll just attach all 3 of them to the first point of electricity rather than chaining them. So now we've got these water spheres, we can go up and turn the electricity off to drop the acid spheres back down to where they were before, and then replace them with water spheres, so then we can leave the level. Now those are chained, it'll unlock this door here. So this level here has another small glitch which allows you to get up higher than you normally would, and you do that by jumping at just the right time before hitting a higher up surface, and you get a higher jump. It's a little bit finicky to do, but you can get up here. Now we swap the positions of the spheres so that it will unlock the door. And now we need to do some more daisy chaining with electricity. To unlock the door to the left, where the electricity source is, we need to move the acid spheres over to the right hand side. So we don't need all of these water spheres here, so we can move them along to where they'll be needed. And now we can use these spheres to start making the chain. Now the chain's made, we can go to the next level. Now this level combines the gravity manipulation with the electricity. So we need to let off these acid spheres from the electricity, and to do that we need to get rid of the water spheres that are underneath. And then we need to let them go from the top. So you can see one of the spheres has already fallen down, and that's because electricity can't pass through these plates. So we use gravity to move the spheres into a place where the electricity can't get to them. But if you go too far, they'll just attach to the next one. And you want to avoid the spheres going down into the pits as well, because otherwise you can't get them out. There we go, now we've got freedom for these spheres, and we can take them over to where the lava spheres were. So by those being on there, it will complete the circuit so we can go through this door. And now we need to drop these into the respective holes before they fall, otherwise we won't be able to get up those stairs. But now that those have fallen, the electricity source has been cut off, so we can leave level through here. Now here, the shortest level in the game, literally just run to the exit. This is one of the more finicky levels of the game, and it involves moving some spheres into the right places. The acid spheres go in the slot on the right, and the lava ones go to the left. But we need to avoid the water spheres. So to keep the water spheres out of the way, we just put them down there. So we can bring this last lava sphere over, and then bring over the acid spheres. Because the acid spheres will react with water spheres and dilute them. So we want to keep them away from both the lava spheres and the acid sphere. Now we just bring this lava sphere over to melt the acid spheres here so we can leave the level. Now here is one of the more complicated levels of the game, and it involves chaining electricity again. But this is vertical this time. Just like Vertigo, but it's more complicated. Here we need to make sure all the lava spheres are out of the way. And we need to make sure that it doesn't go into the ground bubble in the middle. Now for this we need to do some bouldering and get some lava spheres out of the way. Once they're out of the way we can hop over and get rid of the last one, just by creating a ground bubble and then bumping into it. And if you place it in the right place, it will just fall into the pit. And here you can use physics to throw the water sphere over to the other side instead of using the ground bubble. Now we've got two more water spheres we can use, and we chain them to the electricity point just above that fixed gravity sphere, or gravity bubble rather. But we need one more to link it, but we need to get rid of the lava spheres first. So our last water sphere is down here, but we need to enrage it and then make sure it doesn't fall off, and then do some somewhat precise movement to bring it up the stairs and underneath without having to go up and over. Okay, so there we go. Now that will fall down and link to there and unlock the exit door. Now we're back to more worlds tilting, and this time we've got a maze to complete. So we start off up here with a rock sphere, and we need to heat this rock sphere up to turn it into a lava sphere. And to do that we need to heat it up over there. So we need to bring it through the maze without having it drop down the holes, and then bring it back to the start. So gravity manipulation is very difficult to do because it doesn't instantly change direction. So you need to be careful of how long you hold it, because otherwise it will just go too far and you won't be able to slow it down in time. But luckily, and as long as you know how far you need it to go, you can just tap it lightly a couple of times and it'll pick up enough speed. But you'll still be able to slow it down quick enough because the tilt will be in the right position. So we're approaching the end of this level. We just need to bring this to the beginning and then we can just leave through the door. So the next level, there is a way to do this without doing it the intended way, but it's a lot more inconsistent. So it's easier just to do it the intended route. So we put that lava sphere there, so it creates the bridge. Now we need to take that lava sphere and put it over there to unlock the door. So for this level, we're using the reverse glitch again. And when I originally rooted this game, I thought you had to do that for this gap as well, but then I realised you could just do that part as intended, and it creates the bridge for you. So that sped up this level a considerable amount. Now we need to drop these rock spheres onto the pressure plates, which unlocks a path to get to the next section of the level. Unfortunately, the physics can be a bit unpredictable, so you'll never know where the rock spheres will end up. You could have them all end up down where they're supposed to be, or they could go off to a place up here. But once they're on the plate, you can come up here and start doing the third room. So we need to heat up this rock sphere to melt a acid sphere. But first we need to let out the lava spheres that are going to heat it up. And do that by going onto the pressure plate so then they drop down, and then we can heat it up. Then we can take it up and over the top of the room to drop down onto the acid sphere. And now that opens part of the door, so we need to come back into here and remove these spheres from the plate so that it unlocks the other half of the door. And now we can leave for this level. So again, we're using these tilters to position spheres in place so we can use ground bubbles to move them around. And for this one we need to swap the locations of the lava spheres and the acid spheres. But we need to make sure that they don't melt the acid spheres, so we need to keep them in a place where they're not going to be touched by them. So once they're all over there, we can then bring the lava spheres over and put them onto the plate. Now they're on there, we need to take the acid spheres and put them on the other side. So now those are on there and those on there, we can go to the next level. So again we're manipulating gravity, but this time we're also using electricity. So first we need to turn the electricity on, and to do that we place acid spheres there so we can get a lava sphere, and then we heat up this machine, which then unlocks the water spheres and turns on the electricity. So now we need to bring out the acid spheres to be part of the chain. And then once they're attached, we can get the water spheres. And now we're almost complete. Unlocked one part of the door, but we need to unlock the next one. And to do that, we just need to melt the lava sphere. So this level is somewhat difficult because we need to use gravity to prevent, or rather to move the spheres, but we need to make sure that they don't either kill us or to melt the other spheres. So we use grav bubbles to hold the lava spheres in place while we move the acid and rock spheres out of the way. So now we can bring them over, and the fire would normally melt the acid spheres or heat them up, but because they're out of the way, we don't need to worry about it. So we just need to move the lava spheres into that place, and then we can just go and move the acid spheres by hand. There is a way to move the acid spheres using gravity, but it's very difficult to do. So now the acid spheres are in the right place, but the lava ones aren't, so we need to use gravity to make sure they are in the right place. And now we can go through the exit, but we need to do a couple of things before we can actually get to the end of the level. So we need to use gravity bubbles to open these doors and then close them again so that it opens the other doors. So it alternates. So this level we need to get some acid spheres, but they're on the rafters, so we need to get them down from there. And we do that by using a rock sphere to knock them off. So the first one is just straightforward. We just put it up onto the ceiling and then position it so that it knocks the acid sphere down. So now we've got this one, we can utilise it in getting the next one. So again we need to make the rock sphere go up, but once we get over to here we can't get it any further, so we need to hold it in place while we move over the acid spheres. So now that those are in place, we can move it over to here and drop the next one down. But that obviously involves having it in the right place and having the physics coordinated. But now that we've got this one, we can open the door to the exit. So if you leave these acid spheres in the other receptacle, then there'll be lava spheres that fall down from the ceiling and kill you. So you need to make sure that you do them in the right order. Now this level is probably the most complicated level in the game. So we need to create multiple chains of electricity to power the exit door. So first we need to get the first one charged up, and to do that we need to take these spheres and cool them down so that we can create a bridge. So if the spheres aren't properly cooled down, you will actually take damage from them, and you won't be able to push them along. So now those on there, we need to finish the second part of the circuit by putting the acid spheres on here. Once that's done, it creates a bridge, and we can get this acid sphere over, along this bridge, over to where the electricity is. So now that's one of 3 electricity things that we need to do. So we've got 2 more to do down in the bottom part of this level. So we just fall down there and use reverse to cancel the damage, because it's a lot quicker than having to go down step by step. And now we need electricity to go from there to there, but we need to block one of the exits so that the electricity can pass fully. So we do that by placing them over there, so that it powers that one but not that one. So now that one's done, we need to do the last one, which is the sphere that we saw at the beginning of the game, the level, and we just bring it onto the plate. So now that's done, we can go back to the top level and leave this level. So this level used to be somewhat complicated, but I found a strat that makes it so you don't have to go to a part of the level. So first we need to put the acid sphere on there and get these water spheres, because we need to cool down one lava sphere into a rock sphere so we can put it onto a plate. So we put those 2 down there, and then there's 2 lava spheres here, but we bring out one of them just to put out of the way. And then bring these 2 and cool down the other one. now we need to do a glitch using the edge of the surface to fling the rock over onto the pressure plate, but it's very difficult to do, so we'll see if we can get it. Yeah, got it first try. Now the last part is to link up this to the electricity, which will now unlock the door over here, so we can go down to the last floor and leave the level. Normally you'd have to bring lava spheres down to here to unlock the other one, but by flinging the rock sphere we can just skip doing that. And now the penultimate level of the game is a companion cube style level. So you need to escort the acid sphere to the end of the level so we can unlock the door. So for this part we need to make sure we don't cool down or melt our companion sphere, and then we place it down onto that there. Which unlocks this pathway so we can bring these rock spheres over to this plate. So that unlocks that door, but we need to get this one back. So we do that just by bringing it off the plate and then bringing it over. So here we want to go down the hole before the sphere does, because otherwise we'll take too much damage. But the physics can be difficult to predict. Okay, luckily we didn't take critical damage. Normally you do that when you land on the sphere. So now we use the sphere to open this door and leave the level. Now this is the last level of the game. So we put that on there to unlock this door and literally just run past everything. Here you can get killed by the rock sphere, like that, so you need to jump at the right time and it'll give you a boost. Now here we do a series of jumps which skips having to go across some stepping stones. Now we're using the edge jump glitch to get over this gap nice and quick, and then avoiding all of these, jump over. Time is coming up, by the way. We also use it here to jump over the lava sphere. And now, once we get attached by this orb, it's time. So, time. So yeah, that was Entropy Rising, an indie game created by a group of German university students, and it's pretty fun, but the physics can annoy you a little bit. But other than that, it's a nice chill run. Other than that, it's a nice chill run.